Friends Real TV.
Listener, with me in your ear, sitting amongst your wax, let me tell you something.
It's so disgusting.
We have our first ever Fake Friends Real TV guest today.
Hello.
And the guest isn't Aiden. That makes it sound like it is Aiden trying to come up, like trying to palm himself off as though he's someone else.
So this week, we are talking about Glow Up, the popular BBC-made reality TV show to find the UK's next not drag superstar, makeup superstar, the next makeup art.
The next MUA. Not until the end did I realise what an MUA stands for.
Did you think it just meant moi?
I thought it was some technical term for like a new artist in the world of makeup.
Our first special guest is Berny Ferr, who you may know as Bernie from Glow Up Season 2. Glow Up is the reality show, I think, on everyone on Instagram's lips, particularly when new seasons come out. It's got great guest judges, great artists. But yeah, so we've got Bernie here very shortly, and we're chatting all things Glow Up, all about his experience, his looks. It is week 10 of our podcast, which is, Freddie,
It's the finale. And we wanted to do something special. We wanted to have a special guest. But do you know what I thought Glow Up was? I thought it was about female wrestling.
That's Glow. That's the gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
So yes, we've jumped ahead from the nostalgia of what the series has been and into the present day for our finale. And really...
No, Freddie.
What?
Freddie, what did we do last week?
Dragula.
When did Dragula
Last week.
We've been in the present for 2 episodes now. We've left the noughties behind. We might come back. We'll dip our
I think we will definitely come back. Come on now.
Who knows where Series 2 will take us?
I want my Diana Vickers special.
Yeah.
Aiden, imagine if we managed to get Diana Vickers as a guest.
My first question would be, what was it like meeting Mariah Carey? Oh, right.
She just hangs up the call.
Oh, actually, speaking of Mariah Carey, I have something else to mention before we get into it and get Bernie on the line. So recently we have acquired a fake friend, real fans fan Instagram.
That makes it sound like we run it, Aiden. We can't say that we run it because we don't. Sorry, I'm raising suspicions even more.
Not acquired as in bought the rights to it. One of our loyal listeners has started a fake Friends Real TV Instagram fan account where they masquerade as Mariah Carey. I want to say. It's
true. That's what it is.
And they review our episodes from a point of view of the skinny legend herself. Fake Friends, real fans. It's a proper giggle. And I told them when they made the account, I dropped them a DM and I was like, I'll bring this up in the finale.
Oh, my phone's vibrating. Buzz, buzz. I think it might be Bernie. Let me have a look. It is.
Well, Freddie.
What?
As Dua Lipa did not say, pick up the phone.
I'm here. Hi.
We're just here for a good old chat, really. A bit of a natter, I would say.
A bit of a conflab, you might say.
A bit of a conflab.
Oh, don't even. Right. Okay, I love them both, but that word gives me anxiety. Ever. And whenever I hear that word, I actually go back to the moment when I was in the bloody face-off. Bloody terrible. It's like, can we have a conflab? And then in between them going out and discussing and whatnot, we're actually there waiting whilst they're in the back of the room, and it's like, oh my god.
It looks like they're in earshot.
No, they are, but they literally whisper. They talk really quietly, so we couldn't actually hear anything. We just heard occasional whispers.
I'm a little bit obsessed with Val.
Oh, I love her. I was fangirling so much the first time I actually saw her. Because I've followed her for like, well, I've followed her ever since I started being a makeup artist. I've like idolized her, so I was very, very happy to have been in her presence.
Mm-hmm. She reminds me of the woman that used to come around my house and cut my hair, but a lot more skilled.
Well, do you know what's funny? She actually started off with a hair career. She started off doing hair. Her hairstyling is like her original venture, and then she got into makeup.
Oh.
So maybe it might have been her.
I
Who
have a
knows?
question about Val.
Go on.
Does she smell nice? Because I get the impression that she smells really nice.
She smells like a heaven, like an angel from the heavens. Honestly, she smells
Really.
gorgeous, like so good. Like I sound creepy saying that, but like she does.
What an iconic panel of judges.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Val and Dom definitely. They're the OGs. As far as big like makeup artists go, especially Val. So and like obviously Dom, I worked for Mac years and years ago, and he was still like obviously senior artist for Mac, and I just remember like everyone like talking about him and everyone being like, oh my god, Dominic Skinny's really cool, and then all of a sudden a few years later I'm being judged by him and Val.
With the guest judges, it's always posed, I guess, on every reality show, that the guest judge is a surprise. Like when Michelle walked in, Michelle Visage, was that a genuine surprise, or did you have whispers? Did you have a sense that she was there? Did you see her beautiful black locks in the corner of your eye, or
No,
was it a true surprise?
that was a true surprise. That was like crazy. Like we were all really really shocked, obviously, but no, it was a genuine surprise because we weren't expecting it, and obviously we were told before that there was going to be a bit of a twist, and I guess that was the big twist, having Michelle Visage walk in. So no, we literally had no clue because we thought it was just going to be Andrew being the judge for that episode, the guest judge, and then good old Michelle Visage walked in.
Mm-hmm. How
Which
did it
was-
feel when she said that's phenomenal to you?
Oh yeah.
I would have sobbed.
I didn't really know what to say on that episode because I was just so focused on just getting that look done because I didn't really do too well in my other creative briefs because obviously there was so much pressure, and I don't do very well under pressure. I mean, I do well under pressure in industry, but I don't do well under pressure in industry on a TV show. That's like a whole different ball game. So
Mm-hmm.
I was really happy to hear that obviously she liked it because that was like my best week so for like out of all of them that I was on.
It was incredible. When I heard you talking about the concept, I was like, God, Aidan's going to be creaming himself when he hears the word Berlin.
Oh yeah, I love that kind of scene. I think I've always kind of been into that kind of scene, so it was very good that I got to do a look about it, and that I got to kind of like actually have it work out because all the other looks that I did, they just weren't working out. I would plan them and it just didn't work out, especially the peacock one. That the one got sent
I
home.
think you're being hard
I
on
don't
yourself.
think it was.
I loved it.
Did you? Oh, I don't know. It didn't go because my face chart on my mood board was so different to what the actual look was. Because I do this thing when I do like a makeup look. Even if I plan it, I will start the makeup look and it just goes in like a completely opposite direction. So that happened, and I think it didn't fit the brief, and they were right because it wasn't like gory, but yeah.
Where does your fear of peacocks come from?
Oh yeah. That's
So when I was like 3, because I'm from Portugal originally, so I went and did we went to this like little petting zoo thing. I don't even remember what it was. I was literally like 3, like I was still living in Portugal at the time before we moved to the UK, and all of a sudden this peacock is just like on the corner, and I was quite a hyperactive 3-year-old, as most 3-year-olds are. So I ran up to it and it just like chased me. It started chasing me, and I was shit scared of it completely. And I'm still scared of them to this day because I remember very clearly it spreading its wings out, and I thought each little pattern from the peacock was like an eyeball, like staring at me. So yeah, like I'm still petrified of them. Actually, a few years ago, before I moved to like London and stuff, I went to my friend's now ex-boyfriend's house with like this party, and he had peacocks on his roof, and I was like petrified. Couldn't stay there for very long.
There were, during lockdown in the village I live in, some peacocks that went absolute rampage. They were scratching people's car windscreens.
Why are
There
you
was,
telling him?
well, I'm so sorry if that's a triggering story to hear, but it was all over the community pages.
This is my point exactly. Like, they are evil. They're so evil. They're like the bitches or the birds. Like, I can't deal with them. They're just quite annoying, and they're ugly as well. So ugly.
I think that it's quite funny that you were so intimidated and terrified by something because that was so colourful and wild, and then you
Yeah.
go on to make makeup looks which are colourful and wild.
I mean, I think it's because I don't get. I mean, I love going crazy with my makeup, but there's some people, right, that I work in a makeup counter and they want to like swatch an eyeshadow or something. And there's some people that will literally like just do like a little scrape of the eyeshadow and just like just tap their hand and be like, oh, that's not enough pigment, it's not good. And I'm just here like, bitch, just like dig your fucking finger in there and like swatch it. And there's some right pussies in the industry that just don't know how to use colour. So I'm here like, hey, I can use colour, I can do this, I can, you know, I think people are just so scared of makeup and it's unnecessary how scared people are with makeup. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna show people that there's nothing to be scared of because it's makeup, you know? Like,
Yeah.
off.
What I love the most about, I think it's in your like first episode interview or like talking head, whatever you want to call it, is when you say like, I think it's about time that the makeup artist actually have the say and
Yeah.
actually have some sort of autonomy over looks and stuff, because it is surprising that makeup artists aren't sort of leading campaigns. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I think the tricky thing with that is because for years makeup has always been an underestimated industry, and it's only up until recently that it's kind of had a boom and it's really popular. And now there's more occasions where you will see the makeup artist kind of be more part of the production side of things. But I think traditionally a makeup artist is kind of neglected a little bit on set, and they kind of just get told what to do, and you know, and I think people, it's like more often than not, you'll get a makeup artist being asked to do free work from what you would do a hairstylist, for example, and um, I think just that stigma behind being a makeup artist is something that just needs to be broken down. And that's one thing I really wanted to kind of put forward on the show is that makeup artists have just as much of a vision as like the photographer or the stylist or anyone else, because we are kind of like the underdogs on set. We're not really, it's like makeup artists, hair and nails, all the beauty people, they're the underdogs on a set, and they're people that are underestimated. People think that they're only there to do makeup or they're only there to do nails or hair, but you know, I'm working on a project right now and I'm the art director, and the whole idea is kind of come from one of my favorite films. And to be able to be a makeup artist but also an art director for a shoot is something that you do see more of, but it's not as heard of.
But going back to kind of what you were saying about kind of the makeup artist not being at the forefront of the creative direction, I find that such a shame, because I'm so in awe of anyone with a skill for painting, be it on a canvas or on a face or one and the same, and because I just do not have that skill in any way. I think one of the reasons I love shows like this is because I hear the concepts and the ideas and the tasks they get set, and I can imagine what I do, but I know I would never in a million years be able to actually do it. Like my art teacher used to think my work was that I was kidding and threw it away. Thought I was trolling the class, but it was my real work. So I'm so in awe of anyone that can do something legitimate. And I just kind of wondered, in terms of, for someone like me that doesn't have any skill in makeup but that loves the idea of painting my face in the way that you do and in the way that you guys all do, kind of any advice of someone who's not artistically skilled but quite creative, of how they could express themselves through makeup?
So I don't know. I think you don't need to be a makeup artist to express yourself through makeup. I think the best thing anyone could do is just buy yourself a makeup palette or buy yourself any kind of makeup and just play. You know, it's no different to painting on a bit of paper. You know, it's people think that it's so different, and people think that there's this like distinct difference between the two. The only difference is that, you know, if you're an artist or a fine artist and you're sketching or painting, you're doing that on like a canvas or an easel or a bit of paper, you know. But if you're a makeup artist, it's just skin. And you know, you can kind of blur that line of difference between the two and just treat it the same way, which is what I like to do. Even if you're not a trained makeup artist, even whatever, it doesn't matter. I went to uni and did makeup, all that. I pursued it as a career, but you know, that's a different, you know, story and career path there. But just do it. Buy yourself a palette. Do what you want. Like, just don't be scared. Like that picture that I showed you that you saw on my Instagram before. You know, I was, you know, I kind of had a revelation. I was just thinking, like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to get very far with makeup the way I'm dealing with my situation now. All I'm doing is putting pictures of my eyes with like a bit of eyeshadow or on whatever on my page. This doesn't suffice, and it's not satisfying how I want to feel creatively. And then I just did a full face, and I was like, oh wow, and it worked. So just do it. Get out there and do it, basically.
It's also wild that you went to university to study makeup, but you still thought, oh, it's not for me to wear.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I don't wear makeup on a daily is because my skin is very sensitive, and if I'd wear it every day, I would have terrible skin, and I like to look after my skin. So that's just like a whole different ball game. Otherwise, I probably would wear the odd bit of concealer or something like that. You know, I do wear moisturizer, and I do like a bit of blush. That's as far as I'll go for my daily kind of skin routine.
I've just got some of your photos sort of up now as we're talking. I know Freddie's got plenty of things to ask. He's
Oh yeah, I wrote loads of questions. I was just so excited that like you're the first guest we've had on, and that it's someone that's, you know, a talent rather than just, you know, some reality TV star that we've been trash talking for the whole series. So you talked just before we kind of started recording about how you were approached by Glow Up to join them. Could you just talk me through kind of the process, I guess, of you thinking that you wanted to go on this show and get your name out there in the big way that you have?
I think I watched the first season and I thought, I can do this. This sounds like stuff that I can do. And I then just thought, I saw that they were going in for a second season. I didn't even think there'd be a second season. I didn't think much of it, you know? It was just like a makeup show.
Yeah.
And so obviously I followed it, and then I saw that season 2 was like launching, and then I left it for so long. I was like, I'm not gonna apply. Like at first I was like, this isn't for me. Not for me. It's not my cup of tea. And then I just had so many people telling me to apply. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll apply. And then I applied. I got through the process. And then as I was going through the process, I then had the Glow Up casting page reach out to me, asking me to apply. But obviously by that point I had already applied, and spoken to, like, they've got back to me and stuff. So I guess you could say I both applied but also kind of headhunted at the same time to go on the show.
That must have been reassuring to have both in conjunction.
I mean, I was remaining cautiously optimistic because obviously there was a lot of talent and different people to go up against, and I'm very self-critical. Like, I'm the sort of person where, and obviously you guys are artists, you know, you'll realize that with your work you will always be so critical of yourself, and you'll always be like, no, like, I'm not good enough, because I call it artist syndrome.
Yeah, 100%.
And I do that a lot. Even now, even post Glow Up, every single bit of work I put up, I always find something that I can improve on. But yeah, no, I was very shocked. I didn't actually think I would get in it. I applied on a bit of a whim, if I'm quite honest. Obviously, I was very lucky to have gotten in and met all the lovely other people. So yeah, no, it all worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that's another thing. Obviously you lived in a house or a flat with your Viva contestants. How was that?
I hated it, and I know if they listen to this, that I think they all share that same opinion with me. I don't think any of us particularly liked the living situation, because it's not normal. It's not normal for us to all be I mean, it was nice, more like, towards the when there was like less people in the house and there was like less to kind of like worry about because there's less people there. I guess in that sense, maybe it wasn't as bad. But like, I just think I'm very introverted naturally. I'm a massive introvert. I was probably one of the quietest ones on the show as well, and I don't know. I just didn't like it. I was like, no. I got on with everyone, lovely, but like, I just wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of sharing a room with like three other people, however many other boys there were.
I feel the worst thing you want to do after a day of stress and competing against people, even if you do like them, is to then like sit in a room next to them and just be like, who's leaving next? So yeah.
I mean, that wasn't even so much the problem. I think the issue was more so like sharing a room with people and sharing the same bathroom and being like, everyone has different ways of living and everyone has different lifestyles. So I think in that sense, that was the most difficult part. Other than that, it wasn't too bad, to be fair, but I think it was just more of a me problem than anything else. I'm just not one to share a room with like loads of other people because I'm very socially awkward. So
yeah,
there we go.
And as well, at the time, like, you were living in London anyway, weren't you?
So I was living in London up until August because I had to move out of my student halls and I graduated uni and stuff.
Okay.
And so I literally went home for 2 weeks, just under, and then went straight back to London to film for it. So I literally filmed for the show a matter of weeks after I graduated and finished uni. So I went straight from one thing into another.
Which is, for graduate opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, as far as yeah.
So, like, when you're all at home, it must be really difficult to unwind if you're all about to compete against each other the next day and you all have your ideas to be developing. What's the atmosphere of that? Is everyone working or does everyone use it as downtime or a bit of both?
Most of the time we would be working. There was very few of us who wouldn't really do anything, but I think that because I think sometimes you do get very stressed out and caught up in it, so you just don't want to think about the task. But there would be a lot of occasions where people would literally work and work and work because we'd have like blocks of days where we'd be like filming. So in terms of that, like it would be quite stressful. But I think if we had like an off day, then we'd relax in the evening. So like one episode is filmed in like a couple of days. So so like say we were filming for 2 days and then we had like 4 off days, we would obviously focus on our projects in those days, but obviously we're in Camden, so we could like just go off and do whatever we wanted, like essentially. Yeah, pretty much.
So in terms of like doing that work in the flat, like how far in advance do you guys know what the tasks are?
We'd be given a bit of notice. I can't really go into too much detail about that, but
of course.
But we would be given like enough notice. It was totally like level playing field as far as that goes. And I think, I mean, it depends what you do with your time as well, because after filming. But then again, sometimes we'd be filming till so late we wouldn't have time to even finish the preparations because we prepare for something and then it might not go to plan, and then we'd like scrap it and start again. But then we'd have to like let them know that the idea is changing because it has to be the what's it called? Oh my god, my brain is just not working today. What? Let me think. Our ideas has to be in line with what's going to be on the show. So we'd always need to be very careful to like let like the producers know if we're changing anything, and it has to be like almost like logged. So yeah, it was very very like organized in that sense.
Which must, I guess, be reassuring in some senses.
Yeah, it's reassuring, but at the same time, if you're not confident with your idea and then you change it, and then you're not confident with that idea, which happened to me, then you will go into this like loophole of self-doubt almost. Like if looking back, and obviously hindsight is an absolute bitch, so I refrain from looking back per se, but if in this instance, I I would have 100% not gone with doing a bloody makeup about something I'm like about bloody like what's it called, peacock. Like I couldn't have done that. There's a lot you can do with peacocks, but not within that brief. A peacock is too beautiful to do like a gore and horror brief, and obviously I learned that the hard way. Um, but yeah, I think had I gone back, I would have definitely changed that, and then we would have gone through like the process of like changing the idea. But if it's too last minute, I don't think we'd be able to change it. Basically,
So like when you were in the bottom two of Face Off,
yeah.
how that must be, because we've talked about intensity, that must be ridiculously challenging of having them having a look at you, Donval, and what goes through your mind? Does it go slowly? Does it go quickly? What is the feeling of realizing that that's where you're at?
It's the longest process known to man. Like, even though it feels like an eternity. Like the first time I was in the face off against Jake, I literally that didn't feel as long actually. That didn't feel as long because I don't know. I think it was just they had in the end they kind of went by our creative briefs. So I guess it didn't have to. It wasn't as hard to kind of just make a decision in that instance. But with me and James, it took forever. We were there for ages, and just standing in front of where we would do like having to like stare at the work, and that we did, and that one felt a long time. And obviously, I got on quite well with James as well. So going against him was obviously quite difficult, but you know he's bloody talented. So I have no hard feelings or no regrets or anything like that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you still did a very good job on the show. You know what I mean? It's not like you crashed and burned. So
I think my main thing with being on the show is kind of making sure I'm as like genuine and me as possible, because you know I see these reality TV shows and I see people like acting up for the camera and people doing stuff for entertainment and all that stuff, and I'm just not about that. I'm not an attention seeker, so I try to be. I think for me, even though I didn't win, I think that for me that's my biggest achievement, is just being like myself and not being fake, and just, you know, when everyone went into like the group hugs, I'm not a group hug kind of person, so I was just all there like, oh hi, I'm just gonna tap, you know, just a little awkward like air hug, like no.
That's so me.
But I was like light years ahead of this whole planet with this whole social distancing thing. Even then,
100%. I think as well though, like I don't think it's strange because I don't think it's a bad thing, but I've noticed in Glow Up that like it's the first reality TV show where I'm like everyone's really like nice to each other. Everyone's hugging and crying when people leave, and I'm like, it's nice. Like I'm not saying everyone should like go after each other for their life, but it's a nice change, you know.
it's a nice contrast because in the makeup industry there is so much bitterness, and obviously most of the internet drama we get these days are from clowns such as Jeffree Star, James Charles, but I think it's different in a professional setting and not an influencer setting, and I think professional makeup artists will kind of have each other's back a lot more, and it is a little bit more. It is still competitive, but I think that people that actually work and do shoots, etc., they actually kind of have each other's back a little bit more, because there's almost like an infrastructure within that community of people where say like a key artist will always have like a first, second and a third assistant, and if you are this person that has assistants, you take them on shoots with you, 9 times out of 10 that person, that said bigger artist with assistants, will give other people opportunities for shoots that they can't do and stuff like that, and they almost take them under their wing. So I think that definitely projects quite nicely onto the show. It's definitely more of a community now, excluding all those big YouTubers that want to cut each other's throats open. But I think there's definitely more community and camaraderie amongst makeup artists these days than what there ever has been, to be honest.
Okay, this is so unrelated. It just sort of popped into my head a while back when I was thinking about the other contestants and stuff. obviously this would be. I mean, this may never happen, But
Mm.
hey, in an alternate world, in about 6 years' time, when there's been 5 seasons of Glow Up, would
Mm.
you compete in Glow Up All Stars?
It depends where I am at the time. It depends where I am in my career, because I think as much as I loved being on the show and as much as I loved the platform that it's given me, um, it's very much you will get a different kind of like fan base for being on the show. And if I feel like going into an All Stars isn't going to give me the kind of audience I want, then I probably wouldn't go on there. But again, it depends where I am in like 6 years' time. If I'm doing what I love doing, if I've reached loads of goals, I wouldn't really see any reason in me putting myself through that again if I'm happy with where I am at the time, because it is stressful. And I think a lot of people do go on there because they know they're going to get exposure. I mean, I'll be totally honest, that's one of the big reasons why I went on there, because I wanted to put myself out there and get more exposure, which is obviously totally fine. But if I'm at a point where, I'm not the type of person that cares about having all these followers and stuff. I just want to get the exposure so I can fulfill my dreams, which is, something that you do as a makeup artist, is having exposure helps you kind of reach those goals. So yeah, it's all depending on where I am, really. If I feel I'm not doing as well as what I wanted to in like 6 years' time, if I feel I haven't reached enough goals, then yeah, 100% I'd go on. I'd go on if I had a chance to. But otherwise, no. I think if I've already done what I set out to do in my career, then I don't see any point in almost like wasting my time going to um, a TV show again, because it was a stressful experience. And at the same time, in 6 years' time, I'd like to think that I'm already going to be like established enough to not need to go on on a TV show to, because I don't want to be like this like influencer figure kind of person. I want to keep that level of like professionalism there, and there's so many things that I'd love to do, that I'm working towards. So I think if the plan goes well up until then we'll see.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
think that's fine.
refreshing to hear.
But yeah, exactly. Go on, Freddie. Go on.
No, it's just so great to hear, and loving the art itself rather than the sense of ego that can come with it.
Mm,
Um, I have a lot of respect for that. I think that's very cool.
mm.
Kind of attached to that, and also we were talking before about like the community of the show. Did you have a favorite look that one of your competitors did, something that jumped out at you either when you were there in person or watching it later?
Episode 1, Ophelia, creative brief.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was insane. That for me was the best look of the whole show. Like, she came in with a bang. Like, it was just incredible. Um, she is amazing. Me and Ophelia got on quite well as well in the house. Like, she's so nice. She's very humble as well, which you often don't see. Like, I see people like winning shows and whatnot, and you kind of see them lost in it a little bit. And the thing I really like about Ophelia is that she hasn't lost herself in the win. She's remained very much humble, and she's remained very much like authentic and genuine. And I think that's something that she really strives towards. So um, I'm a big Ophelia fan, I must say.
I mean, me too. Like her. I mean, I know everyone talks about it, but like her attention to detail is just incredible.
If I wasn't on the show and I was watching, she would be my favorite contestant, like hands
Yep.
down.
But of course, you are your own favorite contestant. I would hope.
Well, what can I say? I do try. But
Has he stormed out?
I
Is this
stormed out here
is this introverted persona all
in
being fully
true
out?
Gemma Collins fashion. I am getting out of here.
I mean, look, much like Gemma Collins, we've all had enough of these games, so it's fine.
That's another reason why I probably won't go on the show again, if I'm quite honest. I've had enough of these games. So I think it's it is a stressful experience though. Like, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, and like there are moments where it doesn't feel very fair. So I think in that sense, because it is TV and they need to direct it in a certain way for it to appeal to people, not everything is going to be 100% genuine. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's another reason why I probably wouldn't go on the
Yeah.
show again.
I mean, for me, and you can remain completely silent on this
Okay.
for your own protection. Oh,
Yeah.
no one's gonna kill you, I assume. But the Fashion Week
I know what you're going to say.
debacle.
And I don't mind going in on that one because that pissed me off.
Go if you want to go in, then go in, because that was a interesting.
Yeah, so I just feel on that episode I was 100% painted in such like a negative light. For example, there's moments where I'm talking about Fashion Week and people clocked me saying, "Oh yeah, you're going on about the fact how he's done Fashion Week a lot," but there's literally cameras on you with someone behind the camera asking you questions. So a lot of some moments are kind of like fabricated almost. So for me, that part I didn't enjoy whatsoever. I felt I was doing my investigation and the model didn't want me to put certain stuff on her skin. And you know what? In this case, I'm not even going to like. I completely understand that when you have acne prone skin, your skin is more sensitive and you need to be careful what you put on. So she isn't even like she's not to blame here whatsoever. I can completely understand where she was coming from with me not wanting to put certain products on her skin. And obviously it's important as a makeup artist to be very um, just to be very mindful of that and do a thorough investigation. So I spent a lot of the time doing an investigation, which is what we call when we're doing almost like a consultation with someone, is just finding out what products are going to work for them in that scenario. Now, when you're backstage at Fashion Week, you don't put much foundation or anything on their skin anyway. You want to leave it quite bare and you want to focus on skincare. But in this situation, she didn't want me to put a certain brand of makeup on her skin. And so obviously I went to Dom and then he gave me something like a replacement. And when he came over, obviously I was very nervous. I was like, oh God, like this model, like, it is difficult um, to do like a perfect skin without any concealer. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if someone has perfect skin, nothing wrong with it, even at Fashion Week, you will still put a bit of concealer on. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, in this case, the model didn't really want anything on. So, when he came over, I did mention that she had acne prone skin, but this is because she told me herself before the cameras were on that she had acne prone
Yeah,
skin.
of
And I
course.
spoke to her, and she was like, I don't want to put anything on. I have acne prone skin. The model didn't seem in the slightest bit phased when I said that either, and I think I wasn't. The words "the model has bad skin" didn't come out of my mouth. That's what I'll say.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I thought. I was like, you were just explaining the situation, and
Yeah,
also, if cameras weren't forced on you, you probably
yeah,
wouldn't have had that discussion
no,
directly in front of a model. But you had
yeah,
no choice because the camera
yeah,
was
exactly,
there. So
exactly.
I did think watching that though, and I think that shows how kind of wiser people are to reality TV and the way it works. I did watching that think, huh? Like it didn't seem like we were getting the whole story, which I think is so interesting now that we're like 20 years into this whole reality TV thing, and that's what our series has really been about.
Yeah,
well, you know what they
To
say, Freddie.
What do they say, Aidan?
You're not watching Untucked. You're not getting the full story.
Good grief.
like even though people are painted, even though you still in the main episode you do see a very small percentage of what actually goes on. And obviously there has been cases where queens have been done a little bit dirty in the edit.
Yeah.
Um, I think they have Untucked and they have that there to kind of give people a sense of transparency to the show. And I think that's kind of what I didn't really feel too much with Glow is that there were moments, and I'm gonna say this very like I'm gonna say it very loosely, like it's because it didn't happen too very often at all in comparison to other reality TV shows. There were moments where the level of transparency wasn't really there, and maybe things had to have been like orchestrated in a certain way. Because obviously, like I said before, like it's gonna go on TV. It's got to entertain people. It can't just be about the artist and this, that, the other. It's got to be entertaining because it is a BBC show at the end of the day. Um, but yeah, that's kind of it. Like, yeah, I think that there's very few moments where I think they should definitely give the contestants a bit of a chance to have a kind of untucked but glow up version. I think that would be a great idea going forward for like future seasons.
I think also as well, it would be nice to. I mean, I don't know, because the show is about the art, so I don't want to make it too much about the people. But it would be nice to learn more about the contestants
Mm.
away from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's why we watch reality TV. Like, as much as like I watch Glow Up because I'm interested in makeup artistry, and I watch Drag Race because I love my queens. Like, you're there to sort of root for someone, and I think you get that more if there was, like you say, more transparency.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I think it's different because the edit on iPlayer is a bit different. It's not overly different, but it is slightly different to the edit on Netflix. So on Netflix, there is more people, kind of like people have a little bit more of a moment. So um, on BBC Three iPlayer, only like the top four and Kes um, had like a bit where they talk about themselves in more detail, and then it cuts to like images of their makeup from their Instagram pages. No one else got that on on our season on BBC Three iPlayer, but then on Netflix, because I've got a VPN and I went on like the US Netflix.
Yeah.
And I had just a little browse there, and it literally, like, there was so much more to it almost. Like the episode wasn't as long, but there was more of a spotlight on each artist, which was like kind of cool. Like, it was because I hadn't seen any of that myself. I watched it as it was coming out on iPlayer, so it was quite interesting to
How strange,
see that.
especially as well. Like, I mean, I guess that's to make it more suited to an American audience, but you'd almost think that an American audience would focus more
The drama.
on the drama. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not saying there was probably much drama anyway, but well, I
no.
mean, I don't know, but um,
I
how
think
strange.
the reason for that would be American reality TV is a lot more emotional, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They want a bit of a sob story, don't they? That kind of thing. And I think they definitely added that a little bit more um in the edit for Netflix, and obviously internationally as well. They want a little bit more. I feel as though um the British audience, I think the British audience love a bit more of the drama, and they love a bit more of the scandalousness, like um
As
'cause,
someone who runs a podcast on reality TV drama, I don't know really what you're talking about.
How was it watching an edit of yourself at home? I guess was lockdown in full force then?
Oh yeah, like, yeah, lockdown cock blocked the fuck out of Glow Up for me, like 100%. I'm sure I've lost out on like so much work because of it, but that's a whole different conversation. Um, I think it was weird, bloody weird. I was actually talking to my dad the other day actually, because there's on so Glow Up will only come out on Netflix UK 18 months after each season has aired. So season one has recently come onto Netflix UK,
Yeah.
but they do have the trailer for season two on there, and I watched it, and my dad was like, "It's so the weirdest thing about watching you on TV is seeing like the clothing which I literally put in the wash for you, like you wearing it on telly." Like,
Oh yeah.
um, he found that pretty weird. I think, yeah, no, it is really weird. It's bloody weird. I think I was so nervous before it came out as well. I was like, "Oh my god, what's my picture gonna look like? I'm gonna look terrible." And then I did actually look terrible in that first picture, but um, then then I had my moments.
Which one? I don't know the picture.
It's
Yeah,
the first one where like I'm wearing the banana hat, and
a banana hat. That
I,
sounds that sounds very comical.
did you
Which
see
bucket?
the banana bucket hat?
Yeah.
So I have a
Oh,
story behind that. It's got quite a funny story. So when I was in at uni in first year, I had like a massive like party in my flat, and I bought that hat specifically for that party. And that party, a window fell out of the wall, and I was pretty like off my face and all that jazz. And I was literally like walking around the party, and everyone just knew me as like the guy with the bucket hat. And I don't think anyone expected me to actually be the one who like threw that party. But then I thought, okay, I was known for the bucket hat when I was in first year at uni, and all my friends know me for it. So why don't I go and wear it on national TV? So, and that's another thing that I kind of did get annoyed about, because I mentioned many a time where I'm from, that I'm from Portugal, that I moved to England at a young age, and all that stuff. And it wasn't once mentioned on the show, which I was a little bit gutted about, because I'd love for me to be known as like, an up and coming Portuguese makeup artist, but I'm just known as Bernie, which I'm my nationality is part of my identity essentially. So,
And
but
it feeds into your work. It feeds into who you are. So.
100%. But I think, do you know what it is? I had a massive creative block the whole time I was there because I was so nervous. So I think that's maybe why I didn't feel, because the briefs we were given, maybe I just didn't resonate with them too much. The only one that I did was club culture because, Aidan, I'm sure you've seen on my Instagram along the years where you've been following me, that I do like going out once so often. I'm a bit of I like a good boogie and all that jazz. I like being in a queer setting because it's where I feel the safest. If I go to a nightclub full of, toxic straight men, I don't feel very comfortable there. So I'll go to the gay places because gay people, whilst they can be quite bitchy, they're quite nice.
There is a brilliant song about that which you would enjoy.
I'm pretty sure I wrote part of my dissertation about it as well. I literally wrote my whole dissertation on why I think gay culture is shit, basically. Certain parts of it. I mean, the creative part of it I love, but then the social part of it I hate.
It almost seems that you can only be a successful gay artist, which obviously isn't true. You can only be a successful gay artist who turns for looks, etc. if you're also skinny and white. Do you know what I mean?
Don't even get me started on that. I literally wrote a whole chapter almost on my dissertation on how much I hate gay subcultures because I just don't agree with them. I hate the term bear. The term bear pisses me off to the max because you're essentially a twink is referred to as, or a hunk or anything like that. They're referred to as something that's a little bit more pleasant to hear, but then a bear referred to a slightly chubby, overweight, hairy man, will be referred to as a bear, and I just think that's more of an insult than it is a. Imagine being referred to as an animal. I'm sorry, I can go on about this for ages, but people are so superficial with subcultures and what they want within the gay community. It's very stressful. It's so stressful. I think being a gay person in the modern day, I think obviously we have a lot of freedom and it's a lot easier to be gay. But I think what's kind of replaced that oppression is a sense of pressure to belong somewhere in a bracket within the community, which I just think is something that needs to get gotten rid of. I'm sorry, but if I go out in London, one of the worst places I could ever think of going to is Heaven or GAY. I just think that's it's disgusting.
No, I mean it just replicates the same hierarchy that you have outside of it.
Oh yeah,
which is
definitely
just here we be. Not that anyone's gonna be going to GAY for a while, which
no offense to anyone who might be listening to this who does go to those places, but I'm sure they know what I mean. Anyone that has been there, I'm sure they know what I mean.
Hey, I've been to GAY and hated the entire experience.
Oh my god, terrible. I'm more of a Dalston Superstore kind of guy personally.
Of course you are.
I love it there. That's what I call a gay club. That is a good queer space, Heaven, I think every single time I go to GAY or Heaven, there's just so much pressure to hook up or get with someone. Or I think one time I went to GAY and this older man was pressing his crotch up against me whilst I was trying to buy a drink, and I literally stopped, stamped on his feet and told him to go fuck himself, and he was ooh, just that level of promiscuity in those places I just hate. But then you go Superstore and everyone's lovely and it's full of drag queens, so there we go.
No, I do love her. And that's the thing, it also it should be a queer space, not a gay space, and GAY feels like a gay space.
Yeah, I mean I've had my moments more so. I've had better times in Heaven than I have GAY. I think GAY is the worst place, but then Heaven is almost more dirty, but it's got more of a variety of people because it's bigger. So whereas GAY is just gay people, and it drives me a bit mad because I'm not really the type that I don't have many gay friends. My friends are girls, obviously, because I'm gay, so that's just a given. But I think for someone who doesn't often hang around other gay people, that kind of place can be quite daunting. But if you go to Superstore. Like, I've met straight people at Superstore. I've met drag queens at Superstore. I've met non-binary, trans, everyone at Superstore, and everyone's so much more like accepting and nice, and no one judges you. And you go to the smoking area, and everyone's having a conversation. Whereas even if you go to like the smoking area in Heaven, it's almost like a fight to grab someone's attention, or you get looks going from across the. Do you know what I mean? It's just like this environment that's quite uncomfortable. It almost feels like as though I have people like gawking on you. Like the second you walk in there, it's like, or like, I'm not saying like in like a sexual way, but I'm saying more so in like a who the fuck is that kind of way, you know?
Maybe it's the banana bucket hat.
Maybe, or maybe I did used to have green, like a green buzz cut back when I used to go to them kinds of places. So maybe I just didn't fit in. But
Hey, but now that's for look, so you were ahead
that
of the
is
time.
trendsetter, absolute trendsetter.
I was once in the line for GAY and we gave up and went to McDonald's instead, which I think is very symbolic and lovely.
Oh, I love
Honestly,
McDonald's.
McDonald's is the best queer club.
Bernie, it's a long shot. Have you ever
Yeah.
been to the Loft in Norwich by any chance?
Why would you?
No, but I know people that have been to the Loft in Norwich, and I've heard of it before because I've got friends who went to uni in Norwich. So, but I haven't been there. No, I know is it a queer space?
It is.
Yeah, okay, I thought so.
It's an interesting.
I've
No,
never been
It's
there and
my
not been
fault.
kicked
My
out.
fault.
Do you get too fucked?
It's 'cause he
Two fucks.
hangs on scaffolding.
They have this scaffolding scene. Well, to me, it's a scene. I think it's meant to be just a part of the architecture of the building, and it's a playground.
It's a playground.
And to
I've
me,
seen
it is.
them
And
do-
so I almost knock out my front teeth,
Oh, okay. So you're climbing on something that you shouldn't be climbing.
having a bit of a spin around, bit of a sit up on the pole, and like trying to conduct everyone when actually they're just trying to get on with their night.
My goodness, that just sounds funny though. Like if you did that in Heaven or GAY, they'll take it so seriously and they'll probably like kick you out there and then.
Oh,
That's my
I get a
biggest
few
qualm with
goes. I get like 6 or 7 goes, and then I just fall off it into the bouncer's arms and get carried out.
Oh dear, that sounds like a good night to be honest.
Being carried out in the bouncer's arms is like it's a way to leave the club. I mean, how the Met Gala, the celebrities got camp so wrong in 2019 when their entire country is built on camp aesthetics. It just
Don't even get me started. Oh, James Charles's outfit for that Met Gala as well was just
wasn't it just
shameful.
like black?
It was just black. Like, what's camp about that? And he's like camp as hell. So like, surely he would be able to like channel that into a look. But I don't know. I think people definitely had a bit of a warped concept of what camp is. My favourite one was the Billy Porter one.
I've got a question for you, Bernie.
I know what you're gonna, Freddie. I
What-
swear down if it's questions about Katy Perry. I swear.
No,
to
no,
God.
it's not. But I did love hers. But like, if camp had been the challenge on
Oh.
Glow Up, what sort of thing off the top of your head do you reckon you'd do?
Oh, I would have gone full on Lee Bowery. I would have gone full on Divine Lee Bowery. I would have gone full on like OG Club Kid. Like I think that would have been like. So I think you could have done so much with that. I think. I think I would have done really well on that challenge because I would have had so many ideas because I had that same feeling with the club culture one. So yeah, no, I don't know what I would have done. I think there's so many ideas. I would think I definitely would have gone for a bit of a Lee Bowery moment. Kind of
Nice.
getting like a mask moment in with like loads of jewels around the face, that kind of thing. That would have been really cool. That's what camp is: tacky but tasteful.
I've just received a very strange text that I'm gonna have to share.
Go for it.
Because obviously my family know I'm recording the cast, and my dad was like, "Who's had a bigger impact on your life, Freddy or Pikachu?"
Oh, do you want to know what a question for me?
Yeah, go for it. No,
Okay.
that's just for my dad. My dad just asked me, not you. Sorry.
I was gonna say.
Can you imagine? I would imagine Pikachu. It's not been long.
No, I was a bit confused there. I was a bit like, okay. Okay, that night, when I was younger, my nickname was Pikachu. So when I was like, up until I was like, maybe like maybe like 12, my dad would always call me Pikachu. That was just my name.
Something that and we talked about this throughout the interview is kind of your honesty, and there were moments where you would be before Val and Dom, and you would just say your thoughts on your own work. I'd love to know kind of what was that something you'd planned to do? Was that something that just happened in the moment, or was it something producers told you to do?
So that was just me feeling upset. I'm a very emotional person, as you guys will probably tell on the show. I can't. It's not that I can deal with stress very, very well, but that was just like an overwhelming amount of stress, even for anyone. You can get the most rational person in the world, go on a reality TV show, and it just brings out a different side of them. Now, in my own life, I am so critical, and I will always say if I don't like something, and I think it's important to be honest about your own work. But obviously, on the show, I kind of took that idea and like ran with it to a point where I would just say to the judges if I didn't like something, I don't like this. In that kind of situation, I did kind of forget that I was on a reality TV show, that I was in a competition, and in a competition, you shouldn't say that about your own work, and that's something that I wouldn't have done looking back. But I think when you're on the show, you feel like your whole career is on the line. That's kind of how I felt. I felt like everything because for me, going on a show like that was so important. I'm going to get a bit sloppy here as well. Why not? I failed school completely. I completely failed school, failed all my GCSEs. Obviously, at the time, I was coming out. Didn't know what I was doing, and no one ever. I was even like quite badly behaved in school. So like, no one even like. No, I was really bad. I actually got banned from prom and everything. But but I don't know, like I was not doing very well then, and no one really thought I could ever do anything. No one ever thought I could, be kind of or do what I'm doing now. Essentially, no, people thought I wouldn't go far. So I think for me, going on a show like that after the type of journey I've had, where I've always been a bit of the underdog. I've always been the kind of person that people don't expect things from. And I think I'm the sort of person, I love to prove people wrong, and I love to show people up what I can do if they underestimate me. And I think that sense of underestimation plus being on the show like that, and doing well, I'm still working towards my ultimate goal, but it wasn't achieved for me. I think not doing well on the show took an even harder hit on me because of that.
I think that is a very harsh thing to say about
Yeah.
yourself.
It's just,
I think that's an unfair thing to say about yourself.
It's not even that I think, no, because now I look back and I think, oh, I'm doing, now I'm so much more confident now, and I wouldn't say I'm as that what I said to you now, that's what I was like when I was on the show. So that mindset plus the pressure of being on TV and the pressure feeling like your whole career is on the line, I think that kind of built up to that moment where I literally would have just said, oh, I didn't like it. This isn't what I like. I wanted to show. I think it's more because I also wanted to let the Val and Dom know that that isn't the standard that I set myself up for as well.
But I loved that because it resonated with me in the sense that I do that too in other kind of situations, of course. And that feeling of, particularly when you're among people that you want to respect your work, wanting to express that you have the same critiques as them almost. And I found that again really a fresh touch in terms of watching things. No one ever did that on X Factor. No one ever, after the Whitney Houston song was like, yeah, I didn't quite hit the last big note. And I loved seeing someone do that, not in an attention-seeking way, but in a genuine, proud, understanding the quality that they can produce way. I thought that was great, and I'd never actually seen someone do that quite in the way that you did. And I think that was one of my favorite, well, alongside obviously the double denim and Berlin looks, I think that was probably my other favorite thing about watching you on this.
Yeah. I think it's just so important to know where you are as an artist. I think so. There's a lot of people in the industry that think they're the bee's knees because they can do a cut crease, and most of the time that's but I think it's important to hold yourself at a higher standard personally, not with other people. I would never compare myself in that way with other people, but personally, it's always good to raise your own standards because if you don't do that, you're not going to get any better, essentially. And that's kind of a mantra that I like to go by is I just, always hold yourself to a higher standard. But I've added that I should never beat myself up if I don't. Because I did used to beat myself up if I ever did. If I did, I'd be so upset. And, sometimes before, if I did a look I didn't like and it didn't do too well, or people didn't get the best feedback, I would beat myself up tenfold and I'd push myself so much. But I think that is unhealthy, and that showed on the show as well. That's not something. I mean, I'm so happy that you actually see that as a positive thing, because I look back at that and I'm like, why did I say that? But I'm happy.
I totally see it as a positive thing.
I'm happy it comes across as more of a positive thing than it does like a negative.
I think it does, and as I said earlier, with the savvier reality TV audience that exists today, I think it was a great thing to see.
No, I'm very happy that people think that, because that's because before the show came out, there was a load of things that I was very anxious about, because I was like, oh god, I can't believe that I said that, and luckily barely none of the moments really showed on TV, but there was a moment where I had a full on, I think it was the Fashion Week episode, I full on had a breakdown on in the break room, I fully on started crying right next to Stacey Dooley. And that was not a cute moment. It was a full on Kim K ugly cry. I was not big. And I don't cry. I'm not I'm emotional, but not crying emotional. I don't really like to cry. I think it makes my eyes water and hurt. Not very pleasant. So I avoid. But yeah, no, that's how much pressure we were all truly in. There were moments where it's someone who, people know me, other than obviously my family, but people outside of my family, people that really know me, they look at me and then they don't see me as the type of person that will be emotional, that will cry. I'm generally quite closed off to my emotions a lot of the time, and the show brings it all out of you, all of it. It just comes out, and it's weird. It feels weird. It's like someone that doesn't have no heart all of a sudden says, "Oh, okay, I feel something," and yeah. That's the reality of being on a bloody TV show. It's stressful as hell.
Well, some may say that is some real TV.
Oh my god, are you tagging this, Aiden? Jesus Christ.
I don't know, sometimes they just come out of my mouth. Why I can't be on reality TV, because me and Freddie sometimes discuss who would be cancelled quicker if we were on a reality TV show.
Okay, who do you guys usually say?
It's not that we say anything bad, I think we're just... But yeah, I think I would be cancelled first.
You see, I thought that about myself. I thought I'd be a little... I think if I was on a show like Big Brother, I would definitely be the first cancelled. 100%. I would go ape shit.
Big Brother really is the true test of...
I miss that show so much. You have no clue how much I miss that show. It was so good. It got really...
The celeb one.
The celeb one, that's the only one I watched. And I think it was at its peak when Gemma Collins was on it.
Totally, wholeheartedly agree.
At its peak.
Actually, I discovered yesterday that one of the international channels on my Skybox gets the Indian version of Big Brother.
I love it. I love it. Wait, what was it? What did they say? They were like, Pooja, what are you doing? And then she's like,
Pooja, what is this behaviour?
Pooja, what is this behaviour?
Like, I might start watching Big Boss, It might
do
help.
it. Treat yourself.
But yeah, that is, funnily enough, Freddie and Bernie, although you weren't here at the start, I suppose, that has really taken us on a full circle moment of ending the series on Glow Up and talking about our first episode, Big Brother. And
Exactly.
that is the most cringy podcaster thing I've said, at least in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll do a different outro in a minute, Aiden, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, I I mean, we've had you for a while. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh,
This is
thank you so much.
so much.
been an absolute pleasure. I've never done anything like this before. This is fun.
Neither have we, and we so appreciate it. We really wanted a guest for our final episode here, and to have someone, I think some people would be very in and out, but this was so meaty and interesting, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for. Oh my god, this is such a cliche thing, but I need to say it. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
That's like you're
When
leaving
you-
like a family friend's barbecue kind of
Oh my
thing.
god, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Oh, it's our pleasure, Bernie.
Where can we find you? Where can the listeners of the podcast find you? Not in person, just online.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say. So you just find me on my Instagram at Berny Ferr. By the so shall I spell it out for you? BERNYFERR. There we go. But yeah, no, find me on there. You always on Instagram. You can send me a DM. I might see it. I might not. I can't promise. But I'll try to reply to you.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're gonna thank you. Right, we've definitely got the outro there, right? So we're gonna have to do a really cheesy. We will stop recording, but we'll stay on the call. So this will also be cut. But we're gonna be like, I'm just gonna quickly be like, well, see you later, and you'd be like, bye, thanks for having me, blah blah blah, and then I'll stop recording, but we'll stay
Okay.
on the call to
That
actually
sounds
say
good.
goodbye because it's weird as fuck. But hey.
Uh,
So yeah, well, I mean, I suppose we'll see you later.
you'll see me later. Cool. Thank you for having me.
What?
Bye.
Aiden, what on earth's happening?
Oh, Freddie, for fuck's sake, he's saying goodbye for your sake, for editing.
Oh! We'll just keep it like this.
We'll have it like this.
I'll
This
be
is
a
fine.
laugh.
Add some transparency to the show.
Exactly.
professionalism.
I was like, what on earth are you doing? I was like, why are you being so wooden? We've been talking for about an hour and a half. Why are you suddenly being so robotic?
Like to switch up a bit. But I am going to stop recording now.
Okay, cool. Aiden, did you enjoy that?
No, I had a terrible time.
What a bastard.
No, I had a great time.
Such a dickhead for giving us his time.
Yeah,
like we wanted to know.
My show and talk about you when we asked you to be here. No, it was great. It was great. I mean, we've spent the whole season asking a lot of questions about reality TV, and to finally get, a little look behind the curtain.
Behind the velvet rope, as Janet Jackson said in the late 90s.
I was going to say, because obviously it's not a curtain, it's a TV screen, so my preferred one would be the pier behind the Panasonic.
Oh, yeah, that's nice, Aiden.
That's the good stuff, right? Editor, keep that in.
I'll keep it in. Just for you. Cool. Well, thank you so much for listening.
So yeah, cool. Thanks for listening.
Like and subscribe. Tell your friends and family if you don't listen to this, you won't speak to them ever again. Unless you're not fun, in which case, say you'll speak to them even more.
Listen to this podcast, or I will not leave you alone. Which is essentially what my life has become. Because whenever I talk to a friend I've not spoke to in a while, I'm like, oh yeah, so I have a podcast, and if you're not listening to it, why are you not listening to it?
If you're not listening to Fake Friends Real TV, you're only getting half the story.
If you're not listening to Fake Friends Real TV, who's the real fake friend? Thank you for everyone who's been listening this season. To quote the great Gia Gunn, some of the audio has been a bit shaky. Tune in next season, which will be coming to you in
2021.
Follow us on the socials at Fake Friends Real TV on Instagram and Facebook.
And at us if you have beef with us. Please start an online beef with us.
Comment on your favourite celebrities' Instagrams saying, have you heard what this podcast has been saying?
Do not tag Trini and Susanna because we do not want them to listen to it.
we have had one extra special guest from the world of Glow Up. We've been noticed by 2 people mentioned on our podcasts, and I don't mean our friends who we've mentioned in stories. I mean a drag queen has mentioned us.
Loris,
and Susanna of Trini and Susanna fame Soros too. So
a fashion thug.
I'd say that the fashion thug and the queen of latex is pretty good going.
We're on our way. We're on our way to the top.
For two guys having a giggle. You came for Fake Friends Real TV, but you stayed for friendship.
Oh my good. Giddy up.